Well, good morning. I'm hoping that the audio and video is working well. It appears to be. Valcro, it's great to see you. So today we're going to start off with something a little bit different. I said that I'm going to be working on a Cobra head telly, and I will be doing that. We call them a Cobra head just because of the headstock. But this guitar happens to be one that belongs to one of my students. And it had a little accident. It can talk now up here at the neck. This is a perfect example of why I always recommend that if you buy an acoustic instrument that you purchase a hard case to put it in or store it in, especially if you're a youngster or you have a youngster that you purchased your guitar for. It's a good investment because this is going to cost more than the case would have cost, just so you're aware. You can buy a hard case for an acoustic guitar for typically around 99 bucks, which would have saved this headstock from getting broke. Yes, it does cost more than 99 bucks for me to fix this. It's broken clear through to the backside that you can't see right now in the shot. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this up right now to let this get going, and then we'll move on to the Cobra head. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, and I'm finally able to get started on this today. Had a couple of real busy days last week. So what I'm going to do first is take a paintbrush and put a little water along this edge just to kind of help the glue flow. And I can spread this headstock open, or this crack open, a little bit and get some water down in there. No, the water does not impede the or hurt the glue drying process. It helps the water, or helps the glue, flow down into the crack a little bit better than it would if I didn't do this. And I feel better about getting glue down in there versus only getting it on the very edge, surface edge of this. And I'll go through some processes here that I use. Now, hopefully, a lot of you watching won't ever have to repair a guitar in this manner, but sometimes it happens. So do yourself and your friends and your kids a favor and buy a hard case for your guitars to store them in. The soft cases do a great job of keeping the weather off of them. If you're transporting a guitar, if it's raining outside, things like that, they're great for that. But this was in a hard case when it got broken, I'm sorry, it was in a soft case when it got broke. Just so you know, that's kind of what happens. It's cracked all the way through the headstock, so we'll open up this side a little bit and get a little bit of water down in there. Now, I know some people might disagree with putting water on it, and no, it's a waste of time. Ask me how many guitars have come back having done this after I used water to kind of help the glue flow a little better. And I'm moving that crack to kind of help the capillary action of the water get down into the crack. This one, I'm not going to have to break it worse than it was already broken. So this is a pretty good crack. It's a nice clean crack. There were a couple of little chips on the opposite side of this that I had to remove in order to get the neck to match up. And then I've previous to going on video here, I have rehearsed my clamping technique to get this thing to clamp up tight, and if I push on it, you can see that crack virtually vanishes. So I had to remove a little tiny piece of material right here and a little tiny piece along this edge that had chipped and folded under when the damage occurred, to make sure that this thing butts up nice and flush. And you can see, if I hold that together, you can see the water squeezing out of there. So we'll just keep pushing it a little bit, and We're getting close to the gluing point. I have a wet rag right here, and I have a little cup of water here to help if I need it for cleaning the excess glue off of here. So let's just dive right in. I'm using Titebond glue, and I'm gonna have to pick the guitar up off of here, and I'm going to use the glue bottle as sort of a squeeze bottle to help push the glue into the crack, and I can spread it open pretty far here. And I'll use my paintbrush to help push the glue down into the crack as needed. So here we are at this point. This paintbrush is not a very stiff one. It does not have real stiff bristles. I'm going to grab a different paintbrush at this point, but I'm going to try and get most of this glue into the crack as best I can. Don't want to waste any glue, right? And I can see that the glue is getting way down in there, which is really great. Titebond is really an awesome glue for flow. It does a great job getting down into little tiny spaces. I'm going to grab a different paintbrush. It's just got a little bit heavier bristles on it. And this one should do a little better job of pushing that glue down in there. And I keep this glass of water here just to kind of help me add a little bit of moisture to the glue to help push it down into the crack and help the glue flow a little better and get down in there where it needs to be. We want to get at least 100% or more penetration with the glue, so we're doing good here. It's going to take a couple applications, but we'll spread her open and use the glue bottle to help push that glue down in there. And you can see as I move this, it's helping to get that glue down in there using capillary action. And we'll flip the guitar over here in a moment and go at the other side so that we can get 100% penetration on our glue on this one. And forgive me for not answering or commenting on any of the comments in the chat. If you're participating, thank you for that. Lots of live streams going on now. Multi-channel live streams, real confusing. I've seen lately, been a part of a couple of them, and really kind people, but some interesting subjects and topics and things. Another thing I don't like about these brushes, and I will be ordering some new brushes, is that the bristles come off of these a little bit, so we want to be real careful about getting any of that down in the crack here, which could cause an imperfection in the repair. Alright, so use my rag and wipe the excess glue off of here. And you can see that as I push it together, we're getting plenty of squeeze out, so we've got really good glue penetration. Now we're going to flip it. Whoop. My camera's in a real precarious position here, where I have it pointed at the work that I'm doing, so I'm going to do my best to keep that focused. And I have a kickstand at the other end of the guitar that I'm using to keep the guitar from tipping over while I'm working on it from this end. Really a bummer. And you've probably seen thousands of videos of people doing this, but they usually cut them into pieces. They don't actually show you the work in real time. So this will give you an idea of how much time it'll take to perform a repair like this if you care to tackle something like this on your own. I do recommend, if you haven't done this before, maybe take it in and see if a a guitar repair tech would allow you to watch them do the work. It's not something that a lot of people like to share. There's a lot of secrets of this trade that not many people know. This one that I'm performing right here is definitely one that not a lot of guys like to share. But I have no fear. I live in a small town and I'm the only show. So if you break a headstock, this is what you got to do to get her back together again. Hopefully you can maybe learn something from this. Okay, now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to grab some of this excess glue that I've got here and apply it to the top portion of the neck. I'm not worried about getting glue all over the place, because one cool thing about Titebond is that it's very easily, you can clean it up very easily with just straight water. That's all I'm using outside of the glue on this repair. And we got a little excess here, so we'll wipe that off. Now I'm going to take the guitar, and I doubt that you'll be able to see me do this. I'll try and point the camera over here. I'm going to treat this guitar a lot like I would maybe a, oh, here we go. This gives me a little bit of force here to force this glue down into the gap. Using like 10 times too much glue, which is perfect. And as I move this neck, or the headstock of the guitar, forwards and backwards, each time I pump that a little bit, a little more glue is getting down inside that crack and sealing it up and getting good, solid, deep glue penetration. Now you can use air to attempt to push the glue down in there. This crack is so wide that I didn't feel like that was necessary on this one. I'm able to let gravity do its job and let the glue do its job, and I've got a little bit of water in this, so I know that I'm getting good, solid, deep glue penetration. And we'll move it a little more. Get it? And I'm going to add some more glue. I'm about out of glue in this bottle. Keep breaking headstocks, and that keeps me busy. And I can see the glue penetration all the way down this crack. I can see it on both sides of the headstock of this, or the neck, where the crack is. So I know that I'm getting really good penetration on this. The amount of glue that I've put on here and the amount that I can see coming out is telling me that, yeah, I'm getting the glue in there real good and real deep. And where this neck is cracked will now be stronger than it was before it was cracked. So if you own a Gibson, builds your headstocks in a similar way, just go ahead and break it and then glue it, and you won't have to worry about it much anymore. I joke. It's a joke. Don't do that. This show is just for an example of how you can fix something like this. I hope you could see that okay. We'll get the guitar back up here on the bench and get my kickstand on her one more time. Hope everybody's having a really wonderful Monday. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and clamp her up. And watch all this glue. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. I think my camera angle is pretty good. Get a good squeeze on that, and we'll wipe off the excess glue. And look at all that glue squeeze out, which is what we're looking for. We want to make sure that we've got a good glue penetration in this crack. And keep in mind that any excess glue that might be left on the finish of the guitar when I'm done making this repair can easily be cleaned off with water. That's right, you can clean it off after it's dried with water. So it's matching up really nicely right now. This will probably require a little bit of sanding when I'm done to smooth out any rough edges that might happen due to the crack being uneven a little bit. This one's not bad. Go. There will be a little bit of glue left on the finish on the outside of this guitar, and I can see that it's not matching up exactly perfect, but thus is life in some cases. When we do a repair like this, they don't all match up just perfectly. So I'm going to use one more clamp to grab the very bottom part of this crack. There we go. Yeah, it's almost, you almost can't feel it. Almost can't feel it. Really a bummer that this happened, but you know, the cool thing is, this young man is going to be able to use this guitar again this week at his guitar lesson after I'm done fixing it. I'll probably tomorrow pull the clamps and do a bit of the sanding work on this to get it all smoothed out. It won't look perfect, and that's typical of guitar repairs. And I have no paper towels, so I'm going to have to go find some paper towels in the meantime. Let me take a look at this other side. Yeah, it looks great. Looks really good. It matched up really nicely. And we'll just let that hang and dry. And oh, actually, I'll put it in a guitar stand, and we'll let this dry up and move on to our next task at hand. So there you go, guitar headstock glue. And I'm going to put this off to the side here. Give me a couple minute here or so to get stuff reorganized. I clean up my tools. All right, hope everybody's doing well today. I got to go find some paper towels. For some reason we don't have any right now, and we'll see what's happening with that. Hopefully nobody's name, phone number. Hello. Howdy. My knees hurt. Hello. Falcro. Hello. Rody. Hello. My cameraman's been drinking heavily like Falcro's cameraman. His cameraman copies my cameraman a lot. So, you know, just keep in mind that these guys, cameramen are worse than bass players. They just are. Alright, so I think I've got that all dealt with. Let me go dump my water out. We'll clean off my glue jug. And I took a shower today. First time in a couple weeks. Felt good. Okay. Got that and that. His strap for that guitar. Put that right here. Actually, I'm going to put that on. It was, now let me, hang on just a second. I got to go find some paper towels. Give me a moment. I'll go grab some. Take them. Okay. You can't clean your hands now. Okay. All right, we got paper towels. This, one of the greatest tools in guitar repair history. There we go. All right, let me say hi to everybody. Rhodey, hello again. Preston, hello. Yeah, my knees hurt. Hello. I'm drinking right now. Good for you. Cool. Let me go dump out my water, and we'll get back to this. We'll get to work on the Telecaster. Hope everybody again is having a really wonderful Monday. Mine's been really great. Woke up real early this morning, played some guitar, kind of prepared for my my work week, and got to thinking about what my tasks that I had at hand here at the shop. And this gentleman that owns this Telly is very communicative. If you have a guitar with a professional luthier, let me just recommend that you don't text them all the time, because sometimes you get too many of them, and it's kind of fun to keep in touch with people, but there can be too much communication going on where we've got to work. So just a little clue there on that one. So this Telly, give me a moment, I'll be right back. I'm going to dump this stuff out and we'll get moving forward on that. Oh, and I got to put that. Okay, almost there, almost. All of my clients have, and I make certain that they have my personal phone number in case of an emergency or something, or if they just need someone to talk to. I'm always open for that, but I only work 5 days a week, not on weekends, so it can getting messages on weekends about work that I'm doing for you. I don't get paid on Saturday and Sunday, so don't expect a lot of response if that's the case, but I do my best, and sometimes I do. Let's see. So I'm going to check out these messages. I had to change tuners on an acoustic. I sanded an 1/8 inch off the bridge thing to drop the strings, and filled the 15th, 16th fret to remove fret buzz. He filed them. Boy. Okay, and if you're doing single fret leveling, you're going to be chasing frets for the rest of your life. That is not a good plan. Ask me how I know. And you may have experienced the same thing. You may have gotten lucky, but trying to do a single fret or just two of them or whatever, boy, oftentimes if you're filing frets, you could accomplish the same thing by just tapping the edge of it with a brass hammer. Do not use a normal steel hammer. You'll dent the fret. Just tap the edge of the fret, and oftentimes you will be able to accomplish the same thing without trying to singularly file one fret. That is, boy, because you get that one filed down, the next one's too high. You get that one filed down, the next one's too high, and so on. You're better off if you're going to file on any frets. And this is probably 90 to 95% of the time to go ahead and do a whole fret level and crown. And I know that becomes a pretty daunting task, but there you go. Oh yeah. 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 It was not luck. It was the last two frets on the hand. Oh, okay. Oh, I got you. Okay. Yeah, and in that case, you might be better off to pull those frets and deepen those fret slots with a what I call a Japanese saw, a real narrow saw. But you know, I have the ability and the time and the tools to do all that stuff. So if you don't, I get it. File will sometimes do the trick. Oh, I was filing 16th and 70 frets. Okay. Yeah, and another thing you can do if your frets are popping is to use the runny. This is one of the few cases where I say use runny CA glue, but take a, well, I'll show you on this telly. We'll get the telly up here so you can guys see why I call it the Cobra head. Meet the Cobra head. Y'all maybe have, if you watched my video the other day, might have seen this guitar on my bench. The owner of this was busy on Friday, and I had a question for him about maybe trying a different string gauge on this, given the problems he was having with the guitar. So here's the Cobra head. But what you can do is take a little CA glue, and the way I do it is I usually use a tool with a metal end on it, and I'll turn the guitar on its side like so, and I'll push in on the fret and apply a little CA glue there to help stick that fret down in there. And then rather than stick your finger to the fret, you can use a blade like this. So there's a perfect example. If you've got a fret that's not staying put, CA glue will hold that thing in place. And I do it on a lot of guitars, you guys. And ask how many complaints I've had. Yes, it does require a little bit of cleanup. When you're done, you've got to use a razor blade to get the excess CA glue off of the instrument, but such is life. You'll make a guitar like that potentially much more playable. Let's see. Hey, Rich, what's happening, man? Rich is live almost 24 hours a day, so you guys check his channel out. Preston Smith has his thing going Wednesday nights where he's doing guitar rhythms of popular recorded songs and from big bands. And the Falcro does his Wednesday night Lame Live every Wednesday. And I think he's on Tuesdays also. Yeah. And what the Falcro just said, dude, that shit will go anywhere and everywhere you don't want it to go. That is God's honest truth. So be very careful if you need to do that. But there's a couple of ideas on how to repair a fret that's too high. Again, you can tap it, tap the very edge of the fret, bink, just a little tap. You don't need to beat the tar out of it. Check it and pull it out of the way, and be careful not to hit the string at the same time if you got strings on the guitar. Tap it. Sometimes they'll stay put and they won't move again. And sometimes you can use the CA glue and a little tap in combination if you're having trouble getting one to stay put. But don't put the CA glue on there until you're committed to being able to. And usually you can see if a fret's popped if you push on it with your finger. You know, you got calluses on your hands from playing guitar. You know, your finger's pretty able to push that thing down. You can see it move. And even if it's microns, if you can see movement, your fret's not staying put and it's pulling up out of that slot. So use a little CA glue and that'll hold it in place. And that works, my luck, 100% of the time. It just does. But you've got to be certain to be able to push that thing down and do your best not to stick your finger to it. Because CA glue sticks to itself and human skin better than anything else. It was made for human skin. Yeah. Not quite 20.
They have different times, too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you realize how many phone calls I took over that thing.
All right. Hey, my brother Zach, hope you're doing well today, man. Let's see. I got to check something real quick. I'm going to be very public about this. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and I have friends in this feed that are either type 1 or type 2 diabetics, and my blood glucose right now is 140 mg/dL, so it's a little bit higher than I like, but I'm not going to take any insulin at this point. I may do that here in an hour or so. We'll see how it goes. So, Zach, I hope you're doing well. Zach is a lefty. Yep. Yeah, I used some CA glue. Let's see, I stabbed my thumb right there the other day opening up a box. Yeah, I did it. A little drop of CA glue, and it was done bleeding in moments. Also, I don't know if in the World War II movies you've seen, they drop that white powder on that. I believe that stuff is, I don't know exactly what it is. If you know, that'd be cool to hear. But I think that's what that stuff does, is it hardens and causes that wound to stop bleeding. So, all right. So let's get on with the good old Cobra head telly, and the reason we call it a Cobra head telly is because of this. This is the old school version of what Fender did. Probably Leo was doing these in 1946, 47, 48, before the Broadcaster, on his Telecaster style guitars. So we call them a Cobra head because they look kind of like a Cobra's head, right? Yeah, he used it all up. Yeah, CA glue is awesome stuff. I love that stuff. Okay, so a couple things that I've done on this guitar thus far. Went through and cleaned up the electronics. I didn't have any problem, but I did heat each one of them with a little shot of contact cleaner. I did not use a lube on these. I just used contact cleaner, and they turn very nicely. And I hit the pickup selector switch, and also pulled the bridge off of this guitar. This is the original bridge, and it's all turning green like they always do. And you replace the rubber springs, cushions underneath these 3 screws. The ones that were in there were too thick to be able to raise this pickup as high as the owner of this guitar wanted to raise the pickup. And I cautioned him about getting that pickup too close to the strings, simply because it ruins your sustain on your guitar. The magnet in here grabs those strings and stops them from moving, so you lose sustain. So there's I think we all are aware of that, but some guys don't care. So if that's the case, go ahead and put it right up on those strings, but you're not going to get the sustain that you would have had you had that pickup. And the difference between, we're talking, a 32nd of an inch, the sound is so minute so there's a lot of I don't know, do's and don'ts, if you will, with respect to setting your pickup height. There is definitely a mathematical equation that works. Yes, sir.
This gentleman is interested in a guitar that he can play 80s music on. Yeah. Can you help him with that?
I think we might have one.
We will fix you up, my friend.
All right. So what I'm after, and I've got no idea, which direction you look. I remember having experience getting to handle a friend's Paul Reed Smith.
Oh yeah.
And finding that the sensitivity from the top of the neck to the entire length of the neck was just butter easy. I'd never felt one like that.
Okay.
The other is that I love, there's pretty much no rock I don't like, but being able to, I'm not sure what range could be embodied in one instrument. I love 80s metal, 80s music like Ozzy, where pinch harmonics get incorporated a lot. I'd love to learn how to do that.
Okay.
And maybe the ability to drift heavier toward the metal side. I don't know what's possible inside of one instrument, or if you'd have a feel.
Well, guitars obviously have been built in so many different capacities. For what you're describing and the style of music that you enjoy, I think a guitar with dual humbuckers, meaning a neck pickup and a bridge pickup, both humbuckers. If you're talking about 80s rock, Zakk Wylde, one of my heroes, all-time greatest favorite guitar player, and Randy Rhoads, of course, humbuckers. There's no two ways about that. You need a humbucker. There were a lot of that era of music that, like the clean tones from, let's think of bands like Iron Maiden, things like that, where they would use a single coil pickup, something like this,
really?
Like a Telly, to get that beautiful clean sound. Okay. However, you can accomplish both and have high gain distortion using humbuckers in a guitar. So I think we should go that direction for you and try and find one with dual humbuckers. We won't even look at guitars yet. We'll just, we'll go over and take a look at what I've got. So I think that is a good place to start. Um, you're familiar with a Gibson Les Paul, I would assume.
Oh
Yeah, the holy grail of all guitars, and we may have one or two in here. There's a couple guitars I'm looking at now that I think would fit the bill. Excuse me. I went down the wrong pipe. um, Either that or like a super strat style guitar. Like it looks like a Fender Strat. This is a Telecaster.
yeah. Mm.
And it would look like a Fender Stratocaster, but it would have humbuckers in it. And I think for what you're describing, everything that you've described, either one of those would be a really good fit for you.
Okay.
There's also the idea of having a whammy bar.
Oh, true.
Um, Zach didn't use a whammy bar much in Ozzy's music. You're not going to hear a bunch of Floyd Rose type
Right.
whammy stuff. But virtually everybody else in the world during that time, when we're talking the Joe Satriani's of the Steve Vai's of the world, they were using
crazy, don't
yeah,
they?
yeah. So I don't know if that's something that you're interested in, having a whammy bar on your guitar. It's a good option to have. They're you know
I
the
love them. That's
okay.
true. I'm thinking of songs that use it, and I'm like, well, I suppose that, I guess what I'm doing is trying to pick my first one. I've had an electric guitar before. It was like Epiphany. I don't know how to say it.
Epiphone.
Epiphone. It was an SG,
Perfect.
but that was like 15 years ago. I haven't touched one since.
Okay.
So
And you currently don't own an electric
I
guitar.
don't, and that's a shame.
Okay. Okay.
Another thing too is like, so that's one section of music, and the other is Prince.
Right. Well, we can talk about money when you find a guitar. We find a guitar that you fall in love with, and the best way to know if one's going to fit you is just to put it in your hands and let you play it.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, I leave my ego at the front door the moment I walk in here. It doesn't matter if you sound like Joe Satriani or a beginner. You know, just sit down and play a few chords that you know on it and see how it feels.
Okay.
That's the best. That's the best guitar to get, is one that feels right to you. You like the way the neck feels. You like the way, you know, when you're strumming, the way the strings feel to you when you're hitting them with your pick. There's so many things that are involved in that, and the best way to know is for you to play it yourself and go, that's the one. Because there's lots of subtle differences: width of the neck, the thickness of the neck, front to back, the spacing of the strings. There's a lot of variables in guitar, so I don't want to get too crazy technical with you. So that's the stuff to think about, and also how it sits in your lap, or you know, if you plan on standing and playing it, throw a strap on it and see how it
Strap,
feels.
definitely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's maybe go up front and take a look at a couple guitars and see if we got one here that we can send you home with today.
Ooh.
Sound good?
Well, I don't know if I could leave with it today, but
Okay.
I've been
We'll find one that.
I've been here in the ground for 9 years. I don't want the summer to go by without
Okay. So on the let's see. So I'm just gonna go kind of on the affordable end of things right now. And the guitar that like immediately that one. Yes. Two humbuckers, simple volume control, tone control, and you got a little bit of a whammy bar here to hit a chord and give it a little waver in pitch. And these Ibanez, I'm a huge Ibanez homegrown. That was the first real guitar I ever bought was an Ibanez. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. These have been just fantastic guitars. Easy to set up. You can usually get really low string action, meaning you're not having to work too hard to play these things. Usually have an assortment of colors, but the big thing for you is the humbuckers in this one. That's going to give you that high distortion sound that you're looking for. You'll be able to get pinch harmonics like Zach and all the other groups that will take you down any kind of thing. This will do all of that. And I have another version of the Ibanez right here that does not have the whammy on it. So, and the hardtails, you're not, if you haven't used the whammy bar a lot, hardtail on like this one is good we've got that with the dual humbuckers. Oops, sorry, Mom. And then you can see these shapes are kind of varying. I don't have a Les Paul shaped electric guitar in stock right at the moment. We usually do. But these guys, these would be more like what I was talking about with the super strats. These are Teton grand guitars. These are a house cram, and these are just fantastic. What's that? No, I wish I could say that. I do build guitars once in a while here, but I don't have
I
time.
think we'll see what's going on in the shop. What kind of car do you have?
Keep breaking guitars, I'll be busy here. But these ones are going to be a little bit more of your price range. Because of that. We can make you a deal on any of these that we're looking at. But you'll notice that all of these guitars that I'm showing you all have the same electronics configuration, a volume and a tone process, nothing complicated. It's not like you got a bunch of shit you got to learn how to mess with. 99% of the time, the volume will go up on 10. Like literally cranked, on guitar. I would also say that is a very, 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 very important control in guitar. A lot of guys don't even realize they have it. Playing a big heavy riff, and the song goes from super distorted to clean. You roll your volume up and down to clean. And guys will not do that. Or they get done playing a song and they're sitting there squealing. There's a live music and my guitar's making. All you gotta do is turn the volume down. That's a good habit to build. So there's that.
Okay.
So this is price range wise, I believe this blue one is going to be, in the ballpark of, being affordable for you. Don't even look at the price tag. We'll make it deal. Like I said, the best way to know if one is really going to hit you between the eyes is to just sit there and play it a little bit. Whatever you know, a couple licks that you know, see which one feels right. What's that? Let me see what I got here. Oh yeah. We'll run you into this little guy. And just need to plug that in and grab your guitar cable. There is a stool you can sit on. If that's too short, you can raise it up a little. Let me grab you a guitar cable here. How's that thing treating you?
I love it.
You digging that?
I haven't played one before. It's like
Yeah, you can turn those knobs wherever you want. Loud or quiet or gainy or whatever. Mm-hmm.
The disconnect, it pulls straight out.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
How much is it?
That one is going to be right in that $400 range. And what we'll do for you with this guitar, obviously I'll clean it up. You get a little dusty in here, so. But we'll do a setup on this thing for you and make sure that it's everything on it is right. Make sure the string action. It felt pretty nice to me. Just
It feels good to me too.
Yeah, and you sounded like you were having a pretty good time with it there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this one's going to be right in that $400 range. There's nothing fancy about this. Again, just straight up hard rock, heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go metal, you can do it with this. We'll adjust the pickup height and do all of that for you. I know that I haven't gotten this. I don't believe I've gotten this one on my bench yet. Usually I do check them real quick when they come in, but I haven't had the time lately. So, and again, Ibanez does a great job with their instruments. They're usually set up pretty nicely right out of the box.
Okay.
So, was there another one in there that caught your eye that you might want to try out? Let me dust this one off for you real quick. What's that?
I was curious how
Yeah, these if you're doing a lot of what I can tell you about a semi-hollow like this has a block of wood that goes through the center.
Okay.
If you're using high gain distortion, I mean, Ted Nugent did it. He played one of these.
Okay.
That was his animal. But if you're using a lot of distortion, these will tend to give you a little bit of feedback, which again, you got a volume control right there that you can solve that with. So definitely, and it's going to definitely give you a different personality. Let me grab the tuner here. See how this thing. I love the fact that this one has the output jack being here on a guitar versus here. Not a fan of the top. Most of these have a lot of the semi-hollows have an output jack on the top, and I just hate those things. It's a cheaper, easier way to put the jack when they manufacture the guitar. So somebody, let me fire this up. I haven't played this. Well, I'll be dead. Oh. Sounds like an electric guitar. There you go. And if you need this tuner, let me see. This should be alright. And again, volume knob. That come up for you. Yeah, there you go. Is that tuner working for you?
Power button on the back. How's that work?
No, that battery on that one might be dead. I think it's a. This button right here.
Marshall, I'm gonna go get paper towels.
Okay.
You know,
Perfect.
make sure this
Thank
guy's
you.
happy.
We'll make him.
I guarantee
he's-
this guy will do whatever it takes to make you happy. You're in great. Oh, I can't. Somebody used my van.
Oh,
I
you want to take my
forgot.
car?
Oh, is it across the street?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna hot rod it.
Just don't wreck it. Whatever. No.
Come on.
Yeah.
You must really want paper
Right
towels,
there.
dude. Do you want anything
Yeah.
else?
Well, what's that?
Do you want anything else?
$1,000,000? You got that?
Go get your pistol.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Yeah, white Stratus. It should be parked right next to a red Subaru out
In the private lot?
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Hang on.
Those attributes of both of them. Like, so far, I lean heavier toward Ibanez.
What's that?
So
Liking
far,
the other
I
ones?
lean heavier toward the Ibanez, but there's definitely some things about this that I do like.
Yeah. That one will definitely have different tones, just simply due to the construction of the guitar. The Ibanez is a little more, when you're mentioning, wanting to play hard rock type stuff, that's definitely a bit more suited for that style of music. But I've got a couple other in the same genre. I've got that brown one up on the wall. You might want to try that one out. You want me to grab that one for you?
Sure.
Okay. Also, there's a stool right behind you. Try that one. That might be a bit more comfy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And this one isn't going to be a lot different than the blue one that you had tried out. Definitely I can tell that it needs a little bit of fret work. The frets are, again, I haven't been able to get this one on my bench yet, but the frets are a little. I usually take care of this stuff before we get them out on the bench, but I've been so busy fixing guitars, I haven't been able to just address them.
So the fretwork, what do you do with the fret?
Well, these edges, if you feel these edges, they're a little bit, I call them cheese grater frets.
Oh,
And it's common.
right.
Fretwork is one of the most underdone things that guitar manufacturers do, and I don't care if it's a $10,000 Gibson or Ibanez. It's the biggest complaint I feel about new guitars. I have guys that bring their guitars to me, they buy them, they don't even play them. They bring them to me and have me touch up the fretwork on them.
Hey.
one feel?
Still feeling it.
You like it?
Its action seems a little high on this end compared to the other.
The string action?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes me drift toward that one, but there's still something about it.
Yeah.
That's a charm.
That's all that stuff can totally. That's what I do.
Oh wow.
So, you know,
Wow.
I can do a quick setup on that for you. I mean, within 5 minutes, I have that action down a little bit.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What's the price difference on these?
What's that?
What's the price difference between these?
Pickups?
The price difference?
They're actually, this one and the blue, they're going to be right in that same ballpark.
Okay.
Same ballpark, man.
Mm.
And I've sold a lot of this model. This
Have you?
one, the natural finish. People just love the color.
I
It's
do
real.
like that. I prefer
Yeah.
it over the blue, actually.
You do.
Mhm.
Let me give me just a second here. Let me take a look at that thing real quick. That's all right. Let's see. See what our string action is doing. So it's definitely high on these top 4 strings.
Mm.
And let me,
No worries about it.
oh, well, I should adjust it while I'm, you know, because then I hand it to somebody else, they're gonna love it.
Oh.
So I don't want you to play something that's not, you know, comfortable.
Well, I do understand they're fairly equivalent. Like pick your color and
Well,
set it up.
yeah, these are virtually identical. Slightly different pickups, although these may just have covers on them versus the other one just have the black, you know, typical, look like an old Gibson,
Right.
you know.
Easy cleaning.
Yeah, probably a different model of pickup. And in my experience, I get asked this question, what pickup should I put in a guitar? Point at a pair, put them in there. Like, there's such a small difference. I mean, when you get into active pickups versus non-active pickups, then you're talking a tonal difference. Most of the time, pickups make absolutely little to no difference in the sound of the guitar. I know that might sound hard to believe because this is where all the sound's coming from, but truth be known, all this marketing about pickups and Dunlops versus Gibson versus, you know, Fender pickups, whatever. Ibanez pickups, Seymour Duncan's, blah blah blah. There are thousands of different models and they all sound exactly the same. I've tried switching pickups in my own guitars. It's an utter waste of time. So yeah, there's very little difference in those. But this thing definitely could use a little bit of a string setup on this. You wanna, yeah, you wanna try something else?
I think maybe one more.
Okay.
Those Fenders up there, they're Squire line, right?
Say again?
These Fenders that are Squire, is that kind of like the beginner level
Yeah.
of
Yeah, they are. Now, big difference between these Fenders and the guitars that you played thus far. You'll notice the pickup configuration. And those will give you, you know, if you're playing with a lot of high gain, you're going to end up with some buzz, 60 cycle hum. That's why they call those pickers humbuckers. They buck the hum. They're quiet. And in the heavy metal music that you're talking about loving, none of those, I mean, not none of them, but almost none of them use it. Single coils like this are like guys like Robin Trower or Jeff Beck. Other bands that sell or scratch. Of course, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Is it all right for you?
Oh, yeah.
That was quick. It is that's a big point when you're trying to decide on which one should I go with. The way that neck feels is really an important piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
Very important piece of the puzzle. You'll probably notice immediately. Do you have an amp at home?
Nope, that'd be the next
No?
one.
Okay. Well, we might need to set you up with a package deal. You're going to have an amp for that thing. So, and we've got some pretty killer little amps. That one, in fact, is for sale if you're really falling in love with that thing. Those are great little amps. Hard to keep them all in tune all the time.
Oh, yeah. Full band drop down.
You can imagine.
And yeah, that's an instant impression. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a little bit thicker, maybe. Yeah, immediately your licks start sounding like a little more confident, you know?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Can you do a pinch harmonic yourself?
I'm sorry?
Can you do a pinch harmonic, the squeal? Do you know how to do those?
I can usually get away with them.
Could you
Yeah.
show me one? I have no, I mean, I've looked at them. I have never done one.
Sure.
I'd love to know what this.
It's kind of like you got to make your thumb and your pointer, or your thumb and your pick meet the string at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and often what it takes is a pretty good amount of gain. So on your amp, you've got a gain control, diamond,
Okay.
right? And so, that bright. You gotta find the sweet spot on the string. You notice I'm moving my hand. Once you find it, and I haven't played it all today, so I gotta kind of get one. Yeah. You almost always have to frame a note. It's hard to do. You can also. You just kind of got to with this amp is not like super high gain. If you had a lot more distortion going on, or maybe even ran an overdrive pedal in front of that, these pinch harmonics. bounces from where it's making and the vibrato helps keep that note ringing. There's definitely a technique to it on your picking hand. This is where it all happens. You got to get that pick and your thumb to strike the string at kind of the same moment,
Okay.
and it creates a harmonic.
So normal fingering on this end, that's where the pinch harmonic is done.
Yeah, and the harmonic being, you know, you got these harmonics. That's what this pinch harmonic is doing. It's creating harmonic, which is why when you move your pick up the string, you find that sweet spot for that harmonic to really ring out. Because you can, you know, you can create a harmonic. They're not real easy to get. I've been doing them for a long time, so and I love those things.
I do too. That's the whole this has me at.
Yeah.
Right there.
And these, the pickups in this, I probably have the volume turned down on that. The pickups on that might be a little bit hotter than the other ones, the output, and that's a big difference in pickups. And that little teeny bit can be all it takes. That's why guys like Zach use active pickups in his guitar. So he's famous for his pinch harmonics. He's got active pickups in that thing. And those are like, these are not active pickups.
Oh, wow.
In fact, I don't have any instruments in here with active pickups in them at all that I'm aware of. Yeah, but you can get them. I don't own a single guitar with active pickups, and I have a bunch of them. I mean, that's
Kind of hold
a bunch slightly. None of mine have active pickups in them, and I just turn the gain up on my amp until it gets at enough gain that I can get that pinch.
Is this guitar over the other two like? Yeah, don't dive in it. I like this one.
Yeah.
The way this feels to me is just.
I've sold the hell out of that guitar.
Have you really?
That model.
I like it.
Different colors. We've got one. We usually have one of those in a natural color, like looks similar to that darker Ibanez. This one.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm sold.
But
The last.
you digging that one?
The Epiphone that I had was a flame burst.
Mm-hmm.
I do dig it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one.
How much for this one?
I don't even know. Let me look at that. Yeah, this one's gonna be in that 600 range. 650. Yeah.
Worth it.
Yeah. Pinch harmonics. How's that one making you feel pretty good?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah?
You do the neck feel
Yeah.
is just like everything. I would instant. Yeah, that fits me somehow.
Yeah. Well, we don't have the big, huge assortment of guitars that, a major guitar outlet might have, but, you know, uh,
You should see mine at home. It's like zero.
what's that?
Zero assortment at home. Problem.
Right. Well, I'd love to see you take one home with you today.
I'd love to, but I gotta bring you money first.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it something that you might be able to? I mean, if you've fallen in love with it, you can put it on layaway. Put a couple
Oh,
bucks
really?
down. You can take it home with you at a later time. We'll let you make payments on it.
Oh wow.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
the layaway, is it like an in-store thing? Is it credit check? Or?
Yeah. Well, we're basically a cash cow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to put it on your card, you can do that.
Oh, wouldn't
Yeah, I mean, we need a little bit down on it. That'll hold that. It'll make sure somebody else can't walk in here and buy this. And this goes from here into my room back here, and nobody touches anything back there. They got to go through me to get there. So, guitar's safe. Nobody can sell it. Nobody will buy it. And when you can pay it off, you can pay it off. And if it means it takes you a couple months, whatever.
Okay.
We're happy to do that.
So
We
it's
keep
months,
track.
not weeks.
Now, the other thing that really we need to think about for you, you're sitting here playing through a little amp, and that's a pretty sweet little amp. It's a tube amplifier, but you don't need necessarily something like that. You need
Where's your
an amp.
Marshall stack?
Right. We need to sell you a Mesa Dual Rec. No, I've got some PV Viper amps that are in the 250 range for the amplifier. They're a digital amp. That's where the world's gone. Ask me when the last time I plugged into a real amp was. Well, it was just today. But at home, here at work, I almost never play through. Well, that's not true. Yeah, I plug in my computer and play. And that's the amps that we have here. They're digital amps. They're emulations of famous amplifiers, 6505s, 5150s, the Marshall JCM 800s that everybody loves. Yeah. And I can show you one of those amplifiers. You can get an idea of what you're getting into. And they are extremely versatile.
I would love.
Yeah. You want to take a look at one of them?
Sure.
Okay.
You finding one you like?
That one. I like it.
Come on up here, I'll show you this Viper. I've got them in two different variations. I've got the Viper X1 and the Viper X2. The X2 is obviously a bigger amp. It's going to have more features with respect to effects and things like that. The only thing about the big difference is the number of different effects and things that you have. Because you're not running a bunch of effects. You could run effects into the front end, and these take pedals really nicely. So if you've got foot pedals that you own or whatever, you can definitely put a delay pedal in it. But this thing, and again, this is the way of the world. There are very few people playing through real guitar amps. I ain't kidding. So you've got all of your effects. So you've got pressure, chorus, tremolo, dodo, phaser, flam, got a song that you're playing and it goes from clean to heavy high gain, you can't take your hands off the guitar and stop playing. There is on a pedal, yeah, you gotta stop playing. So yes, there is a pedal called a Santera pedal. They make two different versions of it. It has a wah, a treagle pedal, so you can imitate a wah pedal. It does have a wah function on it. So you can do that, and then it's got buttons that allow you to move up and down in the banks and select just a secret patch. And you can program those patches and say, you can also hook this up to your laptop or computer with software and do all the editing that you have to do with your hands on this on your computer. And it is it's a very cool interface. And this competes with the Boss amps. All the line stage stuff. This stuff blows the line stage stuff out of the water. Just in durability and functionality. And I've owned line stage amps, and these things are just killer. And I absolutely like them. But there are people all over town wanting these things. And you have to hunt down. Yeah. This also will, you'll notice that up here it's got electric 1, electric 2. We could set those up for different guitar type sounds. Acoustic. So you can plug an acoustic guitar into this thing and emulate an acoustic guitar sound. Or bass. Full range gain. This is no joke. There are cheaper little practice amps that I've got all over in here for 70, 80 bucks. But monetarily that might be a better choice, or a vice versa guy. It certainly can play electric guitar. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. It's a different thing. $10 this, if you have this an electric guitar plugged in here and have the 6505 or the Triple X, the Triple X amp is one that Wttb designed with very, very famous amp plant. It sounds exactly like it. And the Butcher is another high gain amp that was used a lot in the 80s. The music made a lot of those amps, and of course the Buddha is a instrument. And you got all
Is
that
it for AJ Davis?
in one amplifier. And
Yep,
just turn the
yep,
knob.
see it's on there. Okay,
Yeah, you download the software from the internet. This one, the new model, you might plug this into your. I haven't plugged one of these into my computer at home, but you might be able to. It might just load the software in from this. I'm not
well,
100%
we'll be here till 6.
And if you do,
You
just
can
say
park
hit
it
the
across
button,
the
it'll
street
plug right in.
in the parking lot. But if it gets a ticket, we're not
And it does have
responsible
a
until
looper
11.
built in.
So try to find a private
On your
lot
side.
or a bank lot or something.
This thing is
Okay.
no joke.
Okay.
Except for
All right, thank you. Bye bye.
And then you can just
But it was better having a license than not having a license.
With this amp, you can emulate virtually any literally any style of music. Yeah, and this one. I've used guitar for 5 years. Break a string, you have a new string on this thing. Set. Yeah. This thing has everything you want. Mahogany body, maple top, classic Les Paul. Slash. Yeah. Classic slash guitar body style. This is no, it's a 5 ply. Yeah, 5 ply mahogany and I believe maple or walnut. Yes. I'm Marshall. Luke? Very nice to meet you. Hey, that's all. I'd love to see you go home with that thing. Well, give us a call if you want to do it. You can pull it off the wall for you. All right, Luke. Have a great day. All right. Wow. Well, hasn't this been an exciting YouTube live stream? Been fun. All right, here we go.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You gave it. That was your A game. I was proud of you.
Hey.
But the minute I heard layaway, I thought he's just unemployed, has nothing to do.
Yeah, that might be the case, but he wanted to go home and talk to his wife. He said that they're rolling stuff all the time, so it's like I gotta sell something to. So. He'll be back. He will be back. He loves me, Mike. All right, so I'm doing a little setup work. Doing a little setup work on this Ibanez while I've got it out, because he was playing that gentleman was playing this guitar, and it definitely needed a setup on it. I haven't had a chance to get my hands on this one, so we'll finish this up real quick. And I appreciate you all being cool and the words of encouragement. I thought he was going to take a guitar home today too, but that's the world we live in, and not everybody has the money right now. Right? Sometimes they got to save a little bit, which is smart. I'd rather see somebody save a little bit of money versus using a credit card to buy something that, if you're using your credit card, it just means that you can't afford it in most cases, and you're happy to pay money to spend money, and I don't agree with that. The world has become a really terrible place with regard to that. So we'll get this good old Ibanez. Now typically I don't like having these my saddle screws sticking up above the saddles, but on this one we'll go ahead and do it because I want to do a quick setup so the next guy that comes in here and plays this thing, it feels like $1 million. I haven't had a chance to work on this one since it arrived. This is a Ibanez, the Geo is what I call them. Geo, really a cheap version of an Ibanez guitar, or affordable I should say. Cheap is an unfair word. So this string action is really super high on this one. I'd almost prefer to put a neck shim in this, but this is a brand new guitar, so I'm not gonna go to that extent today. Normally, if this was owned by someone already, I would probably recommend putting a neck shim in this, but we're not gonna go there right now. Somebody's calling. So right now the treble E string is at 6/64ths, and we're gonna drop that down to about 3/64ths, and that's at the 12th fret.
What I do is just try to get the parameters that you would like.
4/64ths. We'll get her down. We'll get her down right. Then we'll play some pinch harmonics on it. Okay. 3/64ths. So it was twice as high as it should be. So now let me tune this thing up and plug it in. Give me a second. I gotta grab my guitar cable.
Sounds good. We're good at chasing them down, though, I promise.
That guy was really super kind and really nice, and I kind of got the vibe that he didn't want me sitting there talking to him, so I just let him do his thing and play the guitars and get in touch with them, which you know, I like doing that when I'm buying a guitar, which I never do anymore, but back when in the day when I was interested in buying a guitar, it was always nice to if the salesman would just leave me the fuck alone, right? So. So we can't get. Alright, so we did a little bit of work on this one, a little bit too much work on this one. I got the string action way too low. So I'm gonna give each one of these a full turn to raise the string action up. Yeah. There we go. I'm just moving it kind of at a random, not random, I'm spinning each screw one full turn to raise the string action up, because just playing it, the string action was actually too low for my initial adjustment. there is a possibility of having your string action on your guitar too low. Believe it or not, guys. It becomes uncomfortable even to a point, and that was causing fret buzz. So let's see how this works. We'll see. Come on. Much better. Much better. I got this one a little bit better set up. I like it. I like it. Plays pretty nicely. Alright. Let's get back to our we'll get back to our task at hand, which is the P51. So here we go. And I think I had gone through and set up the string action on this one. And looking really good and low. Really looks pretty darn good. Let's tune this thing up and play it a little bit and see how she feels. I don't think that I've heard this gentleman play guitar much. I've worked on a few of his guitars. The guy that owns this, I don't know if y'all remember, a while back I did a restore or a refurbish on a Strat, a relict Strat. I think it was. I could be mistaking him with somebody else. And I did just put strings on this, so most of the time when I change strings on a guitar is I'll in different areas of the neck, I'll grab a string and make a absolutely horrendous bend and just stretch the hell out of it. And kind of gets all of that out of the way. And I've seen guys, and I was asked to try this, and that's this method of stretching strings. That's not stretching strings. When you bend a string just 2 frets, if you just make a full step, you're not even bending the string that far when you're doing this. So you're actually doing nothing doing this. This does not stretch your strings at all. In my humble opinion, I stretch the hell out of them. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So in my attempt to do a quick setup on this telly, which was the point of me doing a live broadcast today, I got very well distracted. Yeah. Ground down. There you go. That's how you stretch strings. That's proper. I love it. Yeah. You know, with respect to the way I worked with that gentleman, I learned from, I believe, one of the best guitar salesmen who's ever lived, Kelly at Apple Music in Portland, Oregon, how to deal with a client and read them from a very young age, because that's how he treated me, and I've emulated that in my work as a guitar salesman. And you know, I'm not the world's greatest negotiator. All right. Well, I've gotten fairly close with this this beautiful telly. I think I may need to do a few more small adjustments on it, but I've gone through the setup with y'all as best I can. So if you got a telly, again, I've set the string action up at the 17th fret on this one, and at my treble E I'm at 3/64, and at my bass E I'm at 4/64, and I graduated them as I moved down towards the treble E string ever so slightly closer, and that, I believe, sets my work apart from a lot of people, because I set it up differently. So it's hard to duplicate in some cases, but I do that same thing on many of the guitars that I set up. I'll use my measuring device, but I'll we're talking about 64ths of an inch. I'll split that in 2/3 or a half of it or something like that, and let my eyes and my gut tell me what's right. And usually my gut's pretty correct, and it's hungry right now, I can tell you that. So y'all, I'm gonna head off into the Wild Blue yonder in my P51. I'm definitely gonna play it a little bit more. I believe this thing will be ready to go home today, and I'll call the guy that owns it and have him come get her. Not a whole lot to do on this one, to be honest, but definitely wanted it set up correctly. So there you go. Thanks for joining me, you guys, and forgive me for not being real interactive on this. I usually am not. Yeah, thanks, Richard. Thanks for being here, man. It's great to see you. I hope you're doing well and feeling well and you're healthy. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day. Peace.